Hello, my name is M.K.Davis. A lot of times when we see something that we don't fully understand, and we oftentimes refer back to our own life experiences to explain what we're seeing and what we're hearing. And a lot of the tapes that I've been featuring on YouTube, my YouTube uploads, are sort of mysterious in nature. They're little snippets, and you don't really get a lot of understanding as to the whys and what fors, as far as what you're seeing or hearing, for that matter. And a lot of times, for instance, some of the sounds as if they are in a box. They're a boxy sound, a reflective type of sound, and you hear a little snort or grunt, and it sounds like perhaps it's one of those deer calls, the deer grunts, which every hunter is familiar with. But you have to kind of understand what's going on there to understand exactly what you're hearing. That's a situation where they're actually feeding, or the alleged Sasquatch. They have feeders up there, and these feeders consist of 5-gallon buckets that are mounted horizontally on trees at a level where they can be looked in directly by the alleged Sasquatch. And all these cameras are sort of mounted and directed towards that, because that's where the action is supposed to be. So whenever you hear something that sounds like it's coming from out of a bucket, it probably is. They may look into the bucket and see something, or see nothing, and do a snort or retort or some kind of vocalization into that bucket, and it gives you that hollow, ringing sound. And if you don't know the situation, then you think, well, where have I heard that before? And you think back, maybe perhaps to one of those deer grunts, that they create a hollow, ringing sound. So I wanted to just sort of bring this out, so that you got to understand that this is a situation where they're being fed and have been fed over a period of time, an extensive effort. And you're seeing some of the results. I'll show you, for instance. Let's take a look at some of these feeders here. If you look in the upper left-hand corner of the picture there, you'll see mounted on the trees these 5-gallon buckets at various strategic places. So you can see that if something was to look in there and then retort in some way, or grunt or anything like that, it would create that hollow, ringing sound that would perhaps maybe sound like it was artificial. But like I said, you have to kind of understand what's going on there. So I'm going to play you a vocalization, and you can hear one of these buckets being slapped around and talked into. So let's listen. Now let's listen to the same scene at a different time, and you'll hear that tonal quality as if somebody was talking into a bucket or grunting into a bucket there. It just explains things. Some things need explaining. You have to understand what's going on, how these videos were taken in the first place, to understand what you're listening to. But also, something even more kind of remarkable was that it's imitating the people that it's listened to. These people make regular trips to these feeders and check them to make sure that they have food in them or if they need food. So when they talk to each other, they're not always alone. That sometimes within earshot, these guys, whatever they are listening, and they're great mimics. So you'll hear it mimic here when it looks in there, and he's going to say something to the effect of he didn't touch it. No, he didn't touch it, and that's at least what I hear. See if you hear the same thing. Let's listen. Before we look at this next clip, let me say this in advance. I apologize for the blue tint of the video. Sometimes my camera applies internal filters for whatever reason. I don't know why, but anyway, it's a bit of a distraction. But the videos, what I want to show you is it doesn't matter. So we'll proceed on. Let's listen.
Now let me show you something right here, and I think it's kind of outstanding. You know, there's an old saying, you know, you can't, you can only take what a video or piece of film gives you. Sometimes they give a little, sometimes they give a lot. Sometimes what they give may be subtle. It may be something small that is easily overlooked, but it turns out to be, you know, a little bigger than you think. Anyway, notice this figure right here. It's got dark bottoms and a white top. And you know, don't be thinking that, try not to think that this is the nerve of this guy trying to make us think he's a Sasquatch walking by there, passing this off as a video of a Sasquatch. That's not true. That's not what he's doing. This guy's wearing his work uniform, and he's visiting these feeders to make sure that there's something in them, or which ones need something. Take a look. I'm going to just jog him back and forth. You'll see. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, see him walking? That's not a Sasquatch. He's not trying to be a Sasquatch. He's not trying to act like a Sasquatch and fool anybody. He's just walking from feeder to feeder after work, doing the same thing he's done for quite a while. This was done over a period of 4 years or more, maybe a little more. This video is about roughly 10 years old. So what I want you to pay attention to is another part of this video. So let me set that up. Now I'd like to call your attention to a little area. You'll see him walk across this area right here, you know, where my cursor is, but look down behind this embankment. Let me just move this thing, you'll see it. Right here. And as a matter of fact, I'll just kind of move it over a little bit. Make sure we got that well framed in. Okay, see this little white dot right there? Now, resolution's poor, you can't tell for sure what it is, blah, 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 but watch what it does when you speed it up, and you'll see this guy walks across here going to these feeders, completely oblivious to what this is. Watch it. Watch it move from left to right. And you see it's a very large white object that's animated. It's laying down behind that embankment. Keeping a low profile, it crawls away the opposite way the guy went. Quite a large object, white colored, like we sometimes see in these videos, but up on two legs mostly. But you see, and you can only take what a video will give you. This video gives you quite a bit, and in a hoaxed video, you're only going to get what's built into the video. But in a live event, you get this kind of stuff. This guy, he's walk by. See there, he don't know that this is going on. You look at see him go by? He doesn't know this is going on right here. So this slips away. So if that happens to be one of these big guys, then these guys, they know when these people make their rounds and stuff, and they know how to hide. If he weren't white, you would never see him. He's so low profile and against that embankment. But he's white, and when he picks up on the camera, we can see him from our viewpoint, even though the individual walking across there, checking these feeders, doesn't see him. But there you have it. There, see there. So, you know, like I said, this is why I persist with these videos, because they keep on giving. And even to the point where, you know, if you pay close attention, you see things that perhaps, you know, that nobody saw, that was actually, you know, dealing with these feeders and things. You know, they just walked right by. He didn't see it. Daylight. Yeah, so they're great mimics. They when they're laying down like this and they hear you come by, they hear you talking, they can pick up on what you say. And when he looks in that bucket, he says something to the effect that he didn't touch it. You know, he didn't touch it, but I don't know if he even knows what he's saying. Well, this is all mystery, but you can figure some things out. Thank you for your time.
Yun,